Hi everyone, now that I'm finished grading your first paper, I wanted to go over some things, especially how to find the feedback I left you, how to understand the feedback, and what to do moving forward. So number one, how to find the feedback. Your screen is a little bit different than mine, but you should be able to go into My Grades and look at your grade on the paper, and then you should be able to either click on the grade or you'll see something that looks like a little bit of a talk bubble, like in a cartoon. Above the cartoon character's head there's like a bubble that has the writing in it. You are going to either click on the grade or a talk bubble, and what you're trying to do is get into the Turnitin system where you can see your paper. I've seen on other students' computers before that sometimes it takes you to an in-between page where it's like a mostly white screen with like a box with your grade in it, and then there's like an originality report button. Somewhere on there you want to be able to click on feedback or my paper or something to get fully into the screen where you can see the paper that you turned in, okay? And that's what you're trying to do. So start with My Grades, keep clicking until you end up seeing your paper. Once you get into the Turnitin screen with your paper, you are going to see a button. It's probably on the right that looks like a lot of little squares. Or like 7 or 8 squares, right? Like 3 rows of little bitty squares. You're going to click on that button, and then you can see the rubric. And the rubric breaks down exactly how I got your grade, right, from a number standpoint. So, for example, if you got a 91%, where did the 9 points that you didn't get come from? So it might say, okay, well, you got a 10 out of 10 out of voice, you got a 10 out of 10 out of on organization, but you got a 7 out of 10 on characters, right? And so then you can say, like, that's where I missed at least 3 of the 9 points I'm missing, right? So you can understand your grade from a numbers perspective. There's another button that looks like a square with a pen in the middle of it. If you click on that button, you should be able to find a voice recording that I left you. I recorded a comment for each and every single one of you about your own individual paper. What was strong, what could have been better, how you got the grade you got, what I want you to work on next, okay? So I strongly, strongly encourage you to look over the rubric and then look over and listen to the voice recording to understand your grade. Not only because it'll help you understand the grade you got, but it'll help you understand what you can fix moving forward. I want you to understand, and I sound probably pretty awful in some of those recordings because I've been sick, I am definitely not trying to criticize you. I don't think you're a terrible writer. I am not trying to tell you you're awful and you don't belong in college. Every single one of you guys belongs in college. Every single one of you guys is doing good. So, number one, the reason I'm honest with you about your weaknesses is because that is the only way you're going to learn. If you're writing at a B- level and I tell you you have an A+, you are not going to try harder, right? Because you're going to A, think that you're already a good writer, and B, I'm not being honest about which parts of the writing you could be working on, right? For you to have 100%, that means that even if you had really bad organization, I told you, no, you have perfect organization. So what is there to make you work on organization then, right? So the only way I as a teacher can explain to you, like, better organization would have made this better is by taking away a few points and then explaining organization could have made you better, and then if you want to get a higher grade next time, focus on organization. So that is number one. I'm actually trying to help you learn. And then number two, I want you to understand that I actually really want you to succeed, and that feedback is meant to help you succeed in college largely, right? It's not about the grade in this class. It's about how are you going to do in college and the professional world, right? And so I am trying actually to build you up. I want you to make an A, get an A in the class, but I want you to get it based on actually learning the skills, okay? Importantly, no one in the class got a grade that is so bad that you no longer have a chance at an A in the class, okay? No one totally flunked the paper. No one totally cannot get an A anymore. There's still discussion boards, writing tasks, quizzes, and 3 more major projects that are going to help balance out your grade. You still can get an A, okay? The other thing I want you to understand is that even if you didn't get an A, that doesn't mean you had a bad grade. Some of you, this is your first college class. If you got a B on your first paper in college, you should be proud of that. That is not a bad thing, okay? You probably want a better grade, and I'm going to help you get a better grade on the next paper, but take my comments and your grade with a grain of salt, okay? The other thing that I want to remind you of, because a few people didn't get the grade they wanted because they had good essays, but the essays did not follow the prompt, is I have already given you the prompt for the next essay. I want to make sure that you are looking over that prompt. I have also already given you the rubric for the next paper. Read over the rubric. There's a bunch of little paragraphs for each category. You want a 10 out of 10 in every category. If your paper matches that description, then you get a 10 out of 10 in that category, or maybe even a 9 out of 10 if it's like 99% of the time you're doing that. If you're mostly doing that thing, you might get 8 or 7 points in that category. And if you're just sometimes doing that thing or not at all, then you're going to get 6, 5, 4 points in that category out of 10. So look over the prompt for the next paper and look over the rubric for the next paper. I also want to tell you guys that I really, really do want you to succeed, and that's why I give you so much feedback. So tomorrow you're turning in an outline for your next paper plus a 1-paragraph summary. I'm going to read it, give you feedback, then you're going to finish writing the paper. I'm going to read it again and give you feedback again. Then you're going to do a peer review, and you're going to get 2 feedbacks from 2 separate people in the class, and then you get to fix the paper again. I'm doing this because I want you to succeed. I want you to get an A, but I also want you to succeed in college and in your professional life and become better writers. And for this to work, both in terms of you getting a better grade and in terms of you becoming a better writer, it is absolutely key that you turn in good work, okay? If you turn in an essay as a draft that you know is not very good, and then I say this is not very good, we have not accomplished anything, right? You are only getting feedback that you already knew. And so when you go to fix your paper, you're really only fixing it in ways you would have anyway, right? In contrast, if you turn in a paper that is the best you could do, you read over it, you fixed what you could, you rearranged stuff, you moved this paragraph from here, you deleted this example, so on and so forth, and then you turn in this essay that you think this is the best I could do, and then I read it and I give you feedback, and you fix the paper. Now you've made your best better. Not only are you definitely going to get a better grade than you would have gotten, but in the process of making the best you could do better, you're learning how to be a better writer. So this week, in some ways, is pretty easy. If you look at it on the surface, it's write the paper, revise, revise, revise. But if you're doing it right, that is a lot of work because you should be actively revising your paper every step of the way. So for your outline, really, really sit down and pick your examples and ask yourself, is the outline I'm making going to match the prompt in the rubric? Let me look at it, give you feedback, write the paper. Do not turn in the very first version of the paper you write. Look over your paper, fix it as much as you can, turn that in, and then I will help you fix it even better, okay? I want you guys to succeed. I want you guys to get good grades. And you guys are doing good. As a class, there was a huge number of A's and B's on this first paper, and that is great for the first unit. You are doing okay. You can still get a very good grade in the class. But I am a resource for you, and I am here to help you, okay? If you have any questions, please let me know. But absolutely, in order to learn, please go listen to my feedback and then sit down and carefully read the prompt and rubric for the next paper if you haven't already. All right? Let me know if you have any questions, and I hope you're having a great day.